everybody as humans, right? All of us as humans, human nature, if you take the whole human nature side of things, right? All of us as humans, we all have a certain biology to us that changes over a period of time throughout the day, right? Your biology changes, everything from your mental focus to your body's energy. Everything changes over each period of time throughout the day, okay? And if you put that into a trader's perspective, right? I see a lot of traders, they trade every single session. And a lot of you guys are probably, this probably might hit home for you because you're probably guilty of this. And trust me, I've done it too. But if it works for you, it works for you. A lot of traders will sit around and they'll trade the London session, then they'll trade the New York session, and then they'll trade the Asia session till late at night, and then get up early in the morning and trade the London session again, and then the New York session, and then the Asia session again. And it's like this repeated cycle, okay? But the issue with that is referencing your mental focus and your biology and your mental biology, it changes over a period of time and your mental focus, right? So I'm going to give you guys an example of what I think has been probably one of the biggest changes in my trading. Like one of the biggest changes that I made helped my trading tremendously. Okay. So I'm just going to jump in here, right, on my iPad, and I'm going to give you a little example. And again, we're going to tie all of this back into trading, right? But whether it's trading or whether it's anything else, you should always do the most important task, right, when your biology is at its peak. Okay. So if you think about your body's energy or your mental focus energy, you should always do the most important and tedious task when you're at peak of your biology at whatever time frame that is. And that's different for everybody. Okay. So as an example, let's just take somebody who works out, right? So let's do like 8 a.m. or actually let's go even further. Let's go like 8 a.m. And again, I'm going to tie all this back into trading chat. So just give me a second. Let me work through it and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. So let's do 5 a.m. All right. And let's do 8 a.m. and then we'll do noon and then we'll do early afternoon. All right. And then we'll do like 6 evening time. Okay. And then we do like 8 p.m. Right. If you look at somebody who works out, okay, just as an example, as somebody who's in fitness and works out, they have a prime time that their body is like, you know what, this is the peak time for me to go do this. Some people, that could be 5 a.m., okay? Or for some people, that could be midday, right? That could be midday. Or some people, it could be 6 p.m. or it could be 8 p.m., right? Each individual person that works out has their own time frame that works absolutely best for them and their energy. Okay. For me, it's usually around noon, right? Midday, when I've knocked out, everything that I need to knock out. And the most, I would say, energy spending task, I want to knock out before I get to mid-evening, because I know that's when my mental and body energy usually starts to crash, right? That's just, it's an awareness thing. Okay. It's an awareness. I know for me personally that here in this time frame that I usually start to crash. All right. So now tying that, let me just erase all this. Actually, you know what? We can leave that. We can leave that and we'll go down here. So tying this into trading, right? I'm just going to write this. How does that tie into trading? It's the same exact thing, right? You have London, you have New York, and you have Asia, right? You have the three sessions that people mostly trade, right? And some of them, again, do all of them, right? But if you think about it for a second, what if you only focused on one single time frame that you know that your mental capacity, your mental focus was at its entire peak, right? What if it was at its peak and you only focused on that time frame? Let's just say that you as a trader know that you perform best. And again, this is all tying back into how you perform, like what time do you perform the best? Okay. Let's just say for you, you perform well during the New York session, right? during the New York, but at open. Okay. I'm Central Time, so I'm putting 8:30 a.m. All right. Obviously, do the time difference for wherever you are. But say like you perform best in the mornings. You're up, like you're awake. You've done your morning routine, whatever it is. You perform best at that time. But during Asia, right? But during Asia, you know that mentally your focus starts to drop. Maybe because you've already gone through an entire day. You've already had a long day of work. Kids drove you crazy. Your spouse drove you crazy. Maybe you got in a fist fight with them. Don't encourage domestic violence. Maybe whatever, right? Maybe your focus is just gone at that time, right? And do you think that with your focus already deteriorated, right? Your mental biology, your mental energy has already deteriorated. Do you think you would actually perform at your best, right? Do you think you would actually have the mental bandwidth? Take the trade that if you watch the live stream, take the trade that I took during the live stream today, right? On Friday, what's the date? Friday the 7th? Because people watch this video probably later on. So Friday the 7th, if you watch that live stream, you saw me take the trade that I took today. Would you have the patience to sit through that if you were in Asia session, your focus was already deteriorated, right? Think about it for a second. So tying all this, and maybe even going to London, right? Let's just say that you are more awake and alert and your mental biology and capacity is at its peak during London, okay? So say you're at peak, right? Here, New York, let's just say you're still, I'm still going to draw this down. Say you're at peak. London to say like New York morning session, right? And I'm going to take Asia and I'm going to draw it down here for a second because we do have the open and we have power hour. Okay. For me personally, I can tell you this, right? And I'm just going to use myself as an example too. I perform better at the open. Okay. That's my peak, right? I'm at peak during the market open because I'm alert. I have my first initial tedious task, which is trading, takes the most out of me, is going to be right there at the beginning of my day. So I'm at my peak. Whereas if I already had one hell of a day, right? If I've already had one crazy day full of things, and I know that I'm usually not at my peak during power hour, and I just went through all of this, does it make sense for me to really trade power hour? No, it doesn't. It makes zero sense because I'm probably going to make worse decisions, and I'm probably not going to have the focus, the mental capacity to sit through, trade, and be patient. I'm probably going to have bad habits, right? Knowing that about yourself, having that awareness of when you perform at your absolute best is going to help your trading. And so many people look over just this one part of trading, dude. They really do. So many people look over this. And it's probably the most important. Because how many times, chat, and lock in with me for a second, how many times have you had a bad day? Say you got into an argument with your spouse or somebody broke up with you, or you had just had a bad day in general, and you came to the charts and traded, and you made bad decisions and lost money, right? Think about that for a second. You were at the charts, you were already tilted on the day, and it forced you to make bad decisions, right? I guarantee you, most of you, if not all of you, have been there. I personally have been there, right? So I would not want to do that. I wouldn't want to be in that moment, right? I wouldn't want to have a horrible mentality and then come to the charts and trade. You know what I mean? So I am going to choose the absolute most peak time that I know I perform the absolute best at, right? For me, that is New York Open. Whoops, get rid of this. That is New York Open, right? That's my peak. Anything into here, sure, I might be here trading and streaming with you guys and watching the charts, and maybe I do take a trade, which you guys saw me do today. But you guys know and can tell if you watch my morning streams versus my afternoon streams, I'm usually not as active in the afternoon with trades. I'm usually more active in the mornings, right? Because I know that's my peak. But the whole point behind this is, again, looking at the fitness example, right? For somebody that works out, if they go to the gym at 12 p.m., right? If they go to the gym at 12 p.m., but their energy is more here at 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., do you think they're going to be go full out on their workout, or are they going to half-ass it? Or are they going to maybe take it a little bit lighter, or is it going to be a little bit rougher for them to get through it, right? Chances are, if their peak is at 5 a.m. to 7 or 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. or whatever, and they go to the gym at noon, they're not mentally going to be fully with it, right? They're probably going to half-ass it. They're probably going to, skip on some things, or maybe do less reps, or maybe not do a quality rep that they should be doing, right? Chances are that's going to happen. The same thing, dude. The same thing applies to trading, right? The same thing applies to trading. If your peak is in the mornings, you are not going to be performing at your best during Asia, right? Or during power hour, okay? So again, to tie all this together, I would encourage you to stop trading every single time frame and only trade when you're at your absolute peak. Again, as humans, our biology changes throughout the entire day, right? It changes, okay? Just to give you an example, guys and their testosterone is usually higher in the mornings, and it drops throughout through the day. It's a natural thing, right? That's your biology. Your biology changes through the entire day. And so you have to have the mental awareness of when you should be performing your absolute most tedious task or most important task, because that is when you should be in the trenches doing those tasks, whether it's trading, whether it's fitness, whatever, right? That's when you should be in the trenches. It's in the most important time, or the best time, when you are at your peak with your biology. Does that make sense? Right? Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So again, keeping this lesson short, because I'm not going to drag this out. I'm going to keep this video pretty short. The whole point of this is to stop feeling like you have to trade every single session, because your mental capacity is not there for it. It isn't. As humans, we're not there. Like you can't possibly be 100% focused during London, New York, and Asia. It's impossible, right? Your biology doesn't allow for it. All right. You would actually be superhuman. Okay. Because your biology changes, you're not going to be able to perform at your best during all sessions. So the encouragement here, pick 2 time frames, pick 2 sessions where you feel like you're at your absolute peak. If you want to trade more than one session, pick 2, right? Pick 2 where you are at your absolute peak. Okay. And then trade those. That's what I would say, right? That's what I would say, because again, you want to be at your absolute best. You don't want to be, at 50% when you need to be at 100 because you're actually making money. Like, money is on the line. Do you really want to be at 50% when you're trying to make money? No, absolutely not. Right? Absolutely not. And Stephanie, you brought up a good point. I'm gonna address that too. My peak is on a different schedule than my strategy. Well, here's the thing. There are some exceptions to that, because obviously, like, work schedules and maybe family activities or whatever it may be, they are tying up your schedule. But there are ways to train your biology. Believe it or not, there are ways to train it, right? So if that's something that you have to do to train yourself for certain periods of times of the day, then you have to do that. It's like a sleep schedule, right? If you think about it for a second, like, there's ways to train your sleep schedule. Okay. And your sleep schedule affects your overall biology. You can train yourself to perform best at certain times of the day. Okay. You can. It's a hard thing to do, but it's possible. All right. It's something that I had to do. I'm actually a perfect example of that. Generally, for me personally, usually I'm at my peak at night, right? Or I used to be at my peak at night. I used to be a night owl. Now I go to bed at like 10:30. Okay. I used to be at my peak at night, and I had to really train myself to, have a good go to bed when I need to go to bed, and then have the rest and the things that I needed to get up in the mornings and perform my best. Right. So you can train yourself to perform at certain hours or certain times of the day. You just got to train yourself, but it's a hard thing to do, but it's possible. right? So anyways, that's my encouragement, guys. That's the video. This is the third video of the day trading series. Again, we are going through the mental part of things. We are going to go through the technical side of things as well. But hopefully you guys got value out of this. If you did, just as a closure here, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. All right, because we are doing more of these, fam, and we'll see you guys in the next video.